Je te le donne avec les participants. Você vai alguém trai, talvez tem que deixar as pessoas entrar. Tá bom? Só que só prestar atenção nisso. E desse turno, todo mundo que estiver aqui.
Posso brincar?
Pode. Tá bom. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our monthly appreciation and ancestral service. We are here today to express our gratitude to God and Meshach Selma for the protection, help, and countless blessings we have received this past month, and to ask permission to serve the divine plan for this coming month. Let us begin our monthly service with the presentation of offerings to God. Please pray along silently while we have the opening prayer to God.
Great God of light, with our deepest respect, we have gathered here at the Miroku Association to celebrate our monthly appreciation service combined with our monthly ancestor service. We humbly offer you our prayers of praise and appreciation for the protection, help, and the countless blessings we have received this past month, and to ask for permission, guidance, and inspiration to continue serving in your divine work of the construction of paradise on earth. Please accept the materialization of our gratitude to our in-person and virtual presence, our monetary offerings, and by our guiding relatives and friends. Please grant us strength and wisdom to practice this year's guidelines in our everyday life. Following the example of Meishu Sama's great love and his teachings, let us build a strong faith within ourselves, for sincere service for the salvation of humanity through our basic practices of faith, attending services, channeling and receiving Jorei, guiding our family and friends, volunteering our time and labor, and providing offerings of gratitude are the essence of our mission in the construction of Paradise on Earth. May we strive to continue to establish paradise within our hearts and minds, creating homes of light, thereby helping to transform our communities and the world at large. May we receive greater light and spiritual strength to realize Meishu Sama's ideals in our hearts, our homes, and our communities, so that we become most effective instruments in bringing your divine light and happiness to everyone around us. Please allow us to spread the desire to create paradise on earth throughout all of North America. May the new age of happiness and everlasting peace, where love, goodwill, and understanding prevail, soon become a reality.
Please join us for the Amazonarito, the prayer of heaven, followed by the miracle prayer and prayer for ancestors.
Takamaharani kamuzumarimasu. Kamuromi kamuromi no migoto mochite. Sumemi hoya kamuri sanagi no migoto. Tsukushi no ibuka no tachi hanano. Odo no hawagi harani. Misogi harai kamo. Toki ni narimaseru. Harai no kami tachi. Moro moro no magagoto tsumi kegaremo. Harai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshiro. Amatsu kami kunitsu kami aoyorosu no kami tachi tomoni. Ame no fuji koma no mimi furita tete. Kiboshi meseto kashikomi momaosu. Miroku o mikami Mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Miroku o mikami Mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshiemi oya nushi no kami Mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshiemi oya nushi no kami Mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Nagara Tamachi Haemase. Nagara Tamachi Haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining evermore brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan, and for the privilege of channeling and receiving your ray. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by nature's Son. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Prayer for ancestors. Great God of light, bless and protect the souls of our loved ones whose journey here on earth is over. And as they continue on, great God, in search of eternal light, may they be raised to ever finer and higher states of true eternity. Great God of light, bless and protect us all. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your grace.
Please be seated. We will now receive group jury.
May God and may some of us.
Jury is now concluded. Let us listen to Mrs. Shama's teaching.
Pragmatism in Religion. From the Teachings of Meixo Sama, Volume 3. Pragmatism, which I feel is appropriate to refer to as the principle of philosophy in action, was originally introduced by the famous American philosopher Charles Sanders Peirce, 1839-1914, and became a world philosophy through William James, who, I understand, has come to be thought of as the originator. It isn't necessary for me to discuss pragmatism in depth, since those who have an interest in philosophy are already aware of it. But I do want to write about how it applies to religion. Though I have written on this before, I am going to do so again to make certain my meaning is clear. It seems to be nothing new to speak of pragmatism in religion, since all of today's religions appear to be practicing just that. While it is true they promote their teachings through literature, sermons, prayers, and religious events, and some, as you all know, even urge members to practice self-denial and asceticism. Regrettably, these are not being put into action by their followers, the most important phase of pragmatism. The point of pragmatism is to use its philosophy in daily life, a very American viewpoint. Similarly, what I would like to advocate is applying religion in our everyday lives, or more correctly, making religion and daily life merge into an inseparable relationship. Therefore, more than anything else, I abhor our members becoming dogmatic, isolated, ideological, or having an attitude of being superior to others. Behaviors that at times have been observed in the followers of some religions. I would like our members to be as natural and genuine as others people in general, and to do their best not to give the impression of being too religious. I believe you should grow to the level where you have absorbed the teachings so well that you are actually living them, letting common sense guide your speech and actions in every way. Then you will transcend the appearance of adhering to a specific religion. This is what flexibility in action means.
Reverend Michael Charney will share with you now a faith experience.
Good morning. Today I'd like to share with you the experience of a member from the Mogi Mirim Jore Center, Brazil. As I understand, Mogi Mirim is an area in the state of São Paulo. And the member's name is Patricia Mora Borfamina Silva. Patricia is now a 42-year-old woman who was guided to our church by her husband. In May of 2018, more than 4 years ago, she received her sacred focal point, Holy Carmen. Afterwards, although Patricia noticed numerous changes happening in her life, she remained unawakened to the true meaning of service in God's work. And actually, her involvement with the work of our movement was limited to only occasionally participating at services. On the other hand, her husband was regularly giving service and always encouraged her to do the same. Yet their marriage was marked by many conflicts, lacked compassion, and mutual understanding. All too often, Patricia and her husband found themselves at odds with each other, and they fought frequently. Unfortunately, but not surprisingly, the disharmonious atmosphere in their home reflected on the disposition of their 4-year-old daughter, who sadly was constantly irritable and tearful. However, in May of 2020, Patricia was invited to participate in giving service in the liturgy room at her Joray Center in preparation for the monthly services. And on that first preparation day, something striking happened. She felt some strong impact, surprised her. She felt somehow she had met Meishu-sama at another level. She clearly sensed that something had shifted within her being, within her heart. It was as if like a flame of faith and awareness was kindled within her, and that she awoke to the value of being in service to others. Soon she began to do regularly the practice of Mitami Magaki, which is, of course, the activity whereby one can polish their souls through the cleaning of their surroundings. She also started to regularly dedicate service at the Joray Center by giving Joray there. And about a month later, she met with her minister, sought guidance with hopes of resolving the conflicts that existed in her life, especially her home life. The minister guided her to read the teachings daily and to pay attention to the vital point of each teaching. At first, Patricia didn't understand the logic of this guidance. Frankly, she simply sought to have solutions to her problem, not to have to read books. Nonetheless, she decided to follow the guidance. Fascinatingly, as she began this practice, it proved very challenging. As she read the teachings, she constantly felt sick, experiencing stomach ache after stomach ache regularly. Yet she understood that the stomach purification process was triggered by the light that she was receiving, and she continued to follow the guidance. After a few weeks, the stomach ache stopped. Something else. She started to find great pleasure in reading the teachings. During the same period, Patricia's mother began to purify with kidney stones, and it became evident that she was going to need to have surgical intervention. Uniquely, Patricia's response was to invite her mom to join her in the daily reading of the teachings. Each day, Patricia would visit her mom, and after reading the teachings together, she would channel Joray to her mother. And a short time later, she took her mother to the Joray Center. Soon after that, her mother expelled the kidney stones, thereby eliminating any need for surgery. This miracle only deepened Patricia's faith. Meanwhile, her mother, who clearly recognized the power of Joray, soon became a member of our movement. She took classes and was blessed to receive the Oikari. As a consequence of her stepped up involvement with the practices of our faith in giving service, helping others, studying teachings, practicing Joray, and attending services, paradise-like environment started to be realized in Patricia's home. Indeed, conflicts practically disappeared with her husband, and the relationships between herself, her husband, and her daughter became much more harmonious and very heartening. These days, as part of her dedication, Patricia fulfills her mission by assisting families connected to the Joray Center. She feels very happy being involved in this rich, rewarding service work. She's very thankful to God, Meishu-sama, and her ancestors for the opportunity to have had these experiences, as well as to her husband, who steadfastly encouraged her to engage in the practices of our faith. Patricia Mara Bartolina Silva.
We will now have greetings from Reverend Hong Milton Country.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Is everyone doing okay? Thank God. May summer. I'm very happy to see you all here today. Today we are here praying together with our ancestors. It's a monthly appreciation service, but at the same time we pray together with our ancestors. They are really part of our lives. We may think sometimes we are alone, but we are never alone. Especially, we know that they are together, working together. Everything we do, they are watching, they are together, and participating in our journey, our spiritual journey. Thank you very much, Brother Michael, for sharing that beautiful faith testimony. Has everything to do with the pragmatism. That means we have to always practice what we learned. To be pragmatic is not just be an idealistic, but doing something. And I remember when I received my Ohikari, when I became a member and I joined this Jorei movement, that was when after I received the Ohikari, the minister asked me to go visit someone in a clinic. It was not a hospital, it was a clinic. He said, this is the name of the person, Daniel. You go there, and he needs Jorei. He said in this clinic, he's suffering with pain. I was not so much confident with Jorei. I was very young, 16 years of age at that time, 16, 17. And I said, oh, sure, I'm going to go there. I will give him Jorei. So I went there by myself, and they let me see him, and there he was lying on bed and with pain because he had kidney stones, waiting for the doctors to do something about it, to remove it. And he was with pain, and I sweating, and he was there, and I started to pray, asking Meishu Sama, give me permission to give him Jorei. And I was really not sure if that was going to work because I saw him with so much pain. And even though I've seen miracles with Jorei in my own family, as you know, my mother, she was in coma, she received a miracle with Jorei. But I was giving him Jorei thinking, would that really work? I was so young and giving Jorei. And then he suddenly turned around, turned to me and said, "Could you excuse me? I have to go." I said, "Yeah, sure." So he went to the bathroom, and then he came back, and he was saying, thank you to me. Thank you, I'm better. The stone came out when he went to, after he went to, through the urine, that came out. He was so happy, and he hugged me, and he was telling the nurses how good he felt. And at that moment, I felt something so nice inside me. I felt so happy. I said, "Whoa, I did something good. I think this really works." It was nice. But you may think, you became a member because you had a strong faith and you became a member. Well, let me tell you a story. When my family joined our movement, it was so nice because my mother recovered with Jorei, great miracle. Everybody became part of the movement. I was very young, I could not receive the Ohikari right away, but when the time came that I could receive my Ohikari, I was not interested. I wanted to play soccer and play my guitar and do my things. And my mother, she would always ask me, why don't you go and take the classes and become a member? And I said, no, I won't. I'm creating a band, music band. That was my goal. So I had my friend Ricardo and Eduardo, my neighbors. We got together and we started to try to play something. And that was when my father came to me and said, do you know who is a member of our Jolie Center there, Vila da Penha? Do you know in Rio? I said, man, who is it? Brechó. I said, Brechó? I know Brechó. It's a Javan's drummer. Javan is a very famous artist, singer, composer in Brazil, very famous. Even here in the United States, many people who are involved with jazz know him. He's a member. I said, really? I have to meet him. And my father said, yeah, please, why don't you go? You'll never go to the Jolie Center anyway. It's a true story. So I gather my friend Ricardo, let's go. We have to go to the church. They said, the church? They were not members. Yeah, Brechó is there. Brechó? Yeah. And we need a drummer. So we went there together with my friend and Ricardo. So my father told me every Tuesday from 1 to 3 p.m. he gives service at the bazaar. It's like we have our Miroku shopping, all of those things. He was there giving service, selling things, and very nice guy. So we went there and we met him, and I was like, oh, is that really you? He had those hair like Javan, those, nice. Oh, my name is Romilson. And then he said, yeah, I know your father. So he already heard about me. Yeah, your father told me about you. Yeah. So we are here because we want to ask you to play with us. He's a big shot. He's a big, very famous guy, a musician. He looked at us, 60 years old. He said, really? Yeah, we want you to play with us. We have a gig. We have a concert that we will play at the circus. There's a circus in town, and we have scheduled for on 1 month. We have to go there, and so before that we have to rehearse. And he said, really? Yeah. Would you join us? And then he said, sure. How are you doing? I said, yeah, I'm doing okay. So can we schedule rehearsal? He said, okay, but before we schedule, why don't you do this? You come with me. There is this little office right there that says membership class. So you go there with your friends, you register for introductory classes for Joe Ray to become a member, and then we talk about the schedule. I said, well, no, yeah, that's the deal, just like that. I look at him, and I look at my friends. I said, no, and my friends, yes, let's do this. But you don't even know what we're doing here. You don't even know. So I said, no, it's not a problem. We go take a class, but he's going to play with us. I said, okay, so three of us, we went there, we put our names. At that time, you had to stamp. Each class you take, 4 classes, Adriana maybe remember that, the stamp. You take class number 1, and they give you a stamp, right? Stamp. So we had to show him every week those steps that we took the class number 1 and class number 2, and I was hiding that from my mother and my father. I didn't want my father to know I was taking the classes to become a member, because I didn't want my mother to be in my ears. Oh, my son, thank you, you're nice, you're taking classes. So I didn't want to have that. That's how teenagers work, they think like that. So I took the classes, and then class number 5, one left. I showed him this, one left. So we have to rehearse. He said, no, I don't need to rehearse. Just show me what songs you're gonna play and I'll be there at the circus. I said, okay. So we finished those classes. Many of those classes I fall asleep. I have to be honest with you. I was there. And we finished the course. I surprised my mother and my father. I told next Sunday we have a Ohikari presentation. I will receive my Ohikari at Itabaiana Jore's church in Rio. My mother was like, what? Really? Yes, I'll be there. Oh, so she gathered the whole family, so everybody went to see me receiving my Ohikari. I was receiving it with another 200 people, lots of people receiving. And I was there waiting, my name came, I received my Ohikari. Something happened on that day. When I received my Ohikari, I became, I don't know, I felt good. But first thing we did after we received our Ohikari, you know what we did? We went by the way, Brashaw, he was there. He was there like this. He wanted to make sure we received the Ohikari. We received it, then we went right after him. You see, now can we rehearse? And then he said, no, we can just go and play. So he played with us. He played. We went to the circus and we played. He was there playing. After that player, I never saw him again. He went to Europe to join some groups and never. But I became a Jore member officially at that time. And my friends too. And we got involved with so many activities at the Jore Center. And I started to learn about how Jore really works and what's the purpose of our organization. And that's how I started to really meet Meishu Sama. So, and I'm a minister today. So you may think, for someone to join our movement, has to be specially treated or has to have knowledge about what we do and all that. Well, as long as they have a desire to help someone, to really do some good work, they can join our movement. Because this is what we are having here. It's a movement. And people need to understand and to know what we are doing here. It's not just a Jore movement. It's the art movement, the art of Ikebana, the art in general. It's a nature farming movement that we need to have everyone involved. And that's why we cannot judge and we cannot be so much sojo or very strict, but we have to have open mind and really think about how we can better help someone by helping them to understand what is our organization. Why are we here for? Why do we do what we do? Many times we give Jore, we do help someone, but we don't explain to them why we do what we do. Many people receive lots of light and they feel great, nice, but still they need to understand why we do what we do. And having this very clear in my mind. It is good to, like Meishu Sama says, to give people personal Jore, and then when they ask what we do, then we explain to them a little. but we have to explain to them what we do. Why it's so good and important to join our movement. What is a movement? It comes from the word moving. To move. That means don't stay still, but move yourself. You have to think, are you a member there? Are you in movement or are you stationed? How can you become someone in movement that moves, that's part of the movement, when you begin, you give your first step, when you move? And I think the first move we have to always remember to do is move your hands, channel your ray. The moment when you put your hands together and you raise your hands, you are already starting this movement. The moment when you begin to plant seeds and make nature farming, and when you begin to eat and produce healthy food, organic food, that you try to begin to change your eating habits, you are in a movement. And people will begin to follow, not because you are like a fanatic, but because you are in this movement, important movement. I really ask you, don't be like those people who are like, oh, you have to become a member. Come here. No, you don't do this. By example, people begin to ask you questions. Why do you do what you do? But if someone needs help, you tell them, I can help you. Can I pray for you? They will say, yes, please. Then you tell them, have a seat, and then you begin giving Jorei. 5 minutes only, that's enough. Then you finish. They will ask, what is this? Then you say, this is Jorei. It's a way to purify your spirit. It helps your life. Then you may say to them, I think Jorei is good for you and you should be part of this movement. You have to say it. There are many people, they are looking for something to do. Many people, they don't know what to do. They want to become a volunteer of some sort, something to be part of. And we will build paradise on earth. We are building it. We will build prototypes of paradise on earth. And we have to have people joining our movement. And it is happening. Another thing is, today we see here that all of you, we are all here together, and we may think that this is it, this is what we have here now. But no. Behind each one of you, there are thousands and thousands of ancestors. Do you believe that? This is really truth. When you enter that door, when you came in here, you came bringing many, many ancestors with you to receive light and join our movement. Now, you may ask, so well, why don't we have 100,000 people here physically together? I cannot answer you that now, but I know one thing. There is God's time. It all depends on God's time. He knows when the time is right for everything to happen. But believe me, everything you are doing here, it's already part of creating this beautiful movement. So we have to just use one word that shows how we can really grow and expand and have more people joining our movement. And I learned that from a evangelist, one pastor from California, Rick Warren, a very nice man. He said, there's one word you need to always have if you really want to expand your movement. One word. You know what word that is? invite. Simple as that. Invite. You always invite people to join your movement. An invitation is necessary. If you just stay there and you don't invite, you are, like someone says, you're doing your work by yourself, to yourself, for yourself. But no, this is for everyone. So we invite, we bring them together, we bring them in, we raise them up, we prepare them to send them out there to continue our work. This is what we do. So I would like you to really think about that. We need to expand our Jorei movement. We need to expand our art and Ikebana movement, Sangetsu movement. We need to expand our nature farming movement. And you will see this happening as soon as you begin to move. Move. Don't stay still. You move. Give your first Jorei. We are about to finish our service. Everybody here, what we are going to do after the service, we will move. We will give Jorei. We will receive Jorei. And then you go home, or you go to your work, or you go visit someone, but you're always moving. Always thinking of how can you do, what can you do to always expand this movement. But naturally. Not forcing situations. Don't ever do that. Always do everything in a very nice and smooth way that's in accordance with God's will. So I think this Jorei experience we heard today shows that, how important it is. Before we finish, just to give you some tips that's important about prayer. Meishu Sama says, there was a question for Meishu Sama. They asked like this, Meishu Sama, when we attend a monthly service, do we receive much light? And are we purified by it? Not when we come here? And then Meishu Sama says, yes, you do. God works in that way, where there is a large attendance, people gather together at the service, God's light is intensified, and the congregation is blessed by it. God's light cannot be emitted strongly enough an altar where there is lack of love and sincerity and spirit of devotion. So love, sincerity, and spirit of devotion. And that you have. And another question they asked me, during the time of service at the altar, I try very hard to free myself from all ideas and thoughts while praying a Matsunorito or a poem. But sometimes material thoughts cross my mind. You know what? When sometimes you are praying, but you're still thinking about my rent, I have to pay, how am I going to do? Oh, I need to meet my friend. Those thoughts comes to your mind, right? So sometimes I begin to yawn during the service. And it is hard to really concentrate on the words. Is this because I'm being interrupted by some dark forces, or it is caused by some family clouds or my own spiritual clouds? And then someone says, these things of yours is wrong. The human being should be natural. Act as he is. If some thoughts comes to you during your prayers, or it cannot help. To think that you must free your mind from all material thoughts, it's worldly thinking. You can't do that. It is a free state of mind not to think even of that. So, if some idea come along while you are praying, let them be as they are. It cannot be helped. So you have some idea how Meishu Sama thought. And the last one is this. When we pray to God asking for something, it is all right to think that thoughts are as effective as spoken words. That means if I only think about it instead of saying the words, just thinking is enough. And he says, no, thoughts are different from spoken words. For instance, I think I will give you some food. You cannot enjoy the taste of the food just by my thinking about it, right? It is important to express the thought in some form. Thus, prayer should also be expressed in words. So that's why we change Ama Sonorito. So when we say together, Taka Ama Harani Kamsu Marimasu, all those words, those sounds, they purify our spiritual body, our physical, and the environment, everything around us. So, but it's better to express them in thoughts than not to have any at all. When we pray at the altar, and if there are many people around, ordinarily we do not utter words aloud. What should we do in such a situation? Now, you may act according to the situation. We often hear someone praying, like muttering in a whisper at the altar. You can pray like that. So that means if somebody is around you and you have to pray, you don't have to pray aloud. You can just, whisper words. That's fine too. And in case of an emergency, it is best to speak your prayer aloud. When you are in a desperate situation, you can also call my name and ask for my help. And I ask you today, if you have a situation, difficult situation, call Meishu Sama, and you will see what's going to happen. Meishu Sama's birthday is about to come soon. December is right there. We have to begin to practice and begin to grow our movement by just practicing our faith and be happy doing it. So with this, I'd like to thank you all very much for attending this service, and let's move, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
This concludes our service today. Thank you very much for joining us. We wish you a blessed day.
Michael, thank you very much.
But there is the button there, it's like right there.